The goal today. This isn't gonna be like our normal Schedule 1 videos. We are not leaving this casino until that number next to our money down there says 20,000 or 0. That's the plan. And that's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. And you know, I know it says on the left that there's a guy named Oscar that we can buy a new drug from, but that's gonna wait until tomorrow because we have a lot of work to be done. Okay. Because like I said, we're not leaving until that number at the bottom right says 20,000 or higher. Honestly, if I feel like we're on a roll, then I'm just gonna keep going on. There's nothing that can stop me. And if you're curious about what motivated me to do this, I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I just want to Okay, the number has changed to 30,000. New number is 30,000. We are not leaving this casino until that number down there says 30,000. And yeah, what convinced me to do this? Nothing. You know, I just thought of the casino. I was like, yeah, it's calling me. That's it. That's it. You know, some might think I'm stupid for burning all my money gambling, and then I tell them I just made 10K in like 1 second. So, I mean, if that isn't how you make money, I don't know how it is. And let's play some blackjack while we're here too. Max hand. We're hitting. We're hitting. And you know, sometimes you lose, and then you just have to make it back. You know, sometimes you lose, and then you make it back. You see that? And then if I just win one more time, and you know, if I just win one more time, and you know, we're just gonna do our rounds. We're just gonna go around and round and round. Let's play some Ride the Bus. Let's play some Ride the Bus. That's a black. Of course it is. Higher. You know, sometimes there's ups and downs. There's ups and downs. It was black before, now it's gonna be red. And you know, it's a 2. I mean, of course it's gonna be higher. Perfect. And this is a great inside. This is a great inside. It's easily inside. We're just gonna go back and forth. It's gonna go back and forth. It's gonna go back and forth. It was a red. Now it's gonna be black. We were due for it. And we got a 10, so of course we're gonna go lower, because that's the smart thing to do. Because that's how we gamble. We gamble smartly. And 10 and 8, that's the easiest outside I've ever seen in my entire life. You ever hear the phrase "the house always wins"? It's because those fuckers are cheating you. That's what it is. You're telling me I get a 10 and a... You're telling me I get a 10 and an 8. A 10 and an 8. And I lose. I lose that. It's a 10 and an 8 and I get a 9 when I call outside. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Like you can't tell me that that's for real. Jesus Christ. Like they had it coming for them. Like I don't even like. Okay, let's try this again. Sir, I think you're understaffed. Fuck. You know, the slots is treating me better anyway. They actually know how to give me what I want. You know, I think anything at a table, you can't trust it. And I've made the most amount of money from the slot machine so far, so you know, I was thinking about something recently. Hold on, let me think about how I'm gonna word this. You know when someone makes you feel like you're important and then all of a sudden they make you feel like you mean nothing to them? It's always so confusing to know what to do in those kind of situations because on one hand you're like, well, they don't owe it to me really to, you know, make me feel the way that I want to feel. But at the same time it's like, should I even like keep trying anymore if you're not going to be trying anymore? It makes it feel very one-sided and almost like parasocial when you feel like you're the only one like inputting anything, right? And I don't even mean this in just like a, you know, like a non-platonic sense. Like even in like platonic relationships, like sometimes it feels like, you know, somebody just doesn't give a shit about you, and you know that feels really shitty, right? But there's also a part of me that's like, the jackpot. And there's another part of me that's like, you know, I don't know what's happening in their life, and you know, I don't know how they're thinking. Maybe they probably, realistically, okay, wait, no, not realistically. There's a good chance that this person is making you feel this way when they don't want to. That happens a lot, you know? Like, a lot of people don't actually want to hurt people, but sometimes their actions do that on accident. And, you know, I've done that a lot of times, and I've hurt people that I didn't want to hurt, and it's not because I don't, like, it's because I wasn't thinking. And, you know, I think that happens a lot. I think a lot of people just don't think. You know, it's not a bad thing. Everybody does it. Well, no, I shouldn't say it's not a bad thing, but it's not an uncommon thing to do, and I don't think you should necessarily judge people too harshly for that unless it's happening very often. But what I'm trying to say, there's a lot of cases where the person who you think doesn't give a shit about you might just not be seeing things from your point of view. And that part of me wants to say, like, you know, maybe you shouldn't care as much. maybe you should just, you know, just let it slide. Because you don't know what's going on with their life. Maybe they're busy. Maybe they had more important things to do than, like, I don't know, respond to a text message. Maybe something happened. Maybe they just weren't feeling it. Maybe they were in a bad mood and they didn't want that to transfer to you. Maybe they just were too tired. I don't know. And then there's the side of me that's like, well, if you're not gonna give a shit about me, I'm not gonna give a shit about you. And sure, that's an unhealthy mindset, right? Because you can't hold those kinds of grudges, right? Because I feel like that hurts you more than it hurts the other person, which you shouldn't be trying to do. You shouldn't be trying to hurt people, obviously. But at a certain point, it's like, okay. Like, at this point, I kind of just have to, like, cut this person off, you know? Like, this is just not something, like, especially if you've, like, talked to them, and they're like, oh, okay, my bad, bro. Like, I didn't mean it like that. And they still don't change, then it's obvious, like, okay, you know, like, this just isn't gonna work. But if you haven't gone to that point yet, and you know, it's very, like, intimidating to, like, do that. It's very intimidating to approach somebody and be like, hey, you know, you made me feel this way. That's, like, a very vulnerable thing to, you know, do. And it's not very easy. So you become stuck in this situation where it's like, well, I don't really want to say anything about it, but this person's making me feel like I mean nothing to them. And, you know, that really sucks. Especially when you have these two sides in your head that are just saying, like, no, give him another chance. No more chances. It's over. Cut them off. I don't know. That's just something that I was thinking about recently. Maybe somebody else can relate to that. But actually, yeah, I'm sure somebody can relate to that. I think that's a very universal feeling because, you know, a lot of people don't communicate what they're feeling. And I think this is just a pretty big lack of communication, which is hard. I mean, like, I don't blame anybody for not being able to do that on either sides of the situation that I'm describing here. Like, communication's hard for everybody. Like, I'm not gonna shit on somebody for not being good at communicating. To a certain degree, actually. Hold on, I should say to a certain degree. Like, I can understand that it's hard, but at a certain point you have to start communicating. You know, just like function as like a human being in society. But when it comes to really hard topics like that, like, you should be communicating, but I can't necessarily be like mad at you if you're scared to do so. Like, sure, like, I can understand why you'd be scared to do so, but you have to work on it. You have to understand that you need to get better at it, and you have to at least try. That's just a little thing that I wanted to rant about. Because it's something that's been happening in my life recently, but I'm sure somebody else can relate to it in a similar way. In some sense. I'm sure everybody has had a time in their life where there was like a certain time period where somebody that you really cared about made you feel like you weren't important to them. Because then it feels like you're doing everything. It's like, I thought that we had like this like serious and deeper connection, and then you are all of a sudden making me feel like, huh, maybe it was just me this whole time, and maybe I'm misunderstanding what we really are. Maybe we're not best friends. Maybe we're not friends. Maybe we're just acquaintances. Because to you, it just feels like I'm somebody that we just see in the hallways. But to me, I thought we were buds. I thought we were like pals. But then I walk past you and you don't even know me. Like, you just, no wave, no nothing. Just, I don't know, we just kind of pass by like we're, like, somebody outside of us would just think we're strangers. Which is crazy because, like, we were just having a great time last night. Either like texting or like hanging out, going somewhere, and then all of a sudden it's like, I don't know, not even a hello. I don't know. Maybe that's just a difference in like expression of love language. I don't mean love language in like a sense of like, you know, romantic. I mean like you can express your love language even through platonic friendships, like physical touch, for example, or like physical, what is it? Touch, you know what I'm saying? Love language, like patting your friend's shoulder, like dapping them up, giving them a handshake, high-fiving, fist bump. Like those are all forms of physical. That's all physical love language right there in a platonic sense. And I think a lot of people will be very hurt when people don't share that love language with them. Like some people show that they're friends by, you know, dapping each other up while passing by in like a hallway. And then some people don't do that, and they don't see that as like their normal way of just showing things. Sometimes they'll be like gift giving, and then when the other person doesn't give them a gift back, they're like hurt because, you know, I gave you a gift. How come you don't give me a gift to show that you care about me? Do you even care about me anymore? Like, so that's something to think about. Not everybody shows their, you know, affection for you in the same way. And I think that's something that a lot of people have to understand when it comes to understanding people, you know? And, you know, whenever I remind myself of that, it really keeps me, like, more empathetic for people. Is that the right word here? I guess so. Like, it better puts me into their shoes of, like, you know, I don't really understand how they work. And I'm making assumptions of them if I decide things for them, like deciding, hey, you don't care about me. Like, that's a pretty bold assumption to make without fully understanding how somebody works, you know? Like, maybe that they just don't show their, you know, affection in that kind of way. And I think that's something that you have to understand, because you can't only be friends with people that share the same love language as you, right? Like, that's absurd. Like, I don't know how to like word it, but like you can't do that. Like that's just not realistic, right? Like you don't go to people and like you're holding like a clipboard. Okay, love language, physical touch, gift giving. Okay, that's okay, I guess. Do you also like the same things as me? Do you have the same hobbies? Okay, yeah. Same food? Yeah, do you like that too? Okay. Oh, you don't like pickles? Oh, like you're not going to like when you're meeting people, it just happens, you know? You're not having them trying to make a checklist. Like, you're trying to be friends with as many people you want. You want a wide variety of, like, friends. And one of the very important things in making new friends is understanding how they communicate. Because, you know, communication's the key to friendships, obviously. So, something to keep in mind when trying to understand people or meet new people or better understand the people that you already know, you know? Something to think about. Just try your best to understand people, you know? And I know that sounds like, duh. Like, duh, try to understand people, but like, don't always be so quick to assume what another person thinks about anything. Like, about you, about what they, like, don't, okay. Let me try to tie this back into what I was saying before. Don't make assumptions about what people think of you. Because a lot of the times, your assumption is wrong. And I don't mean to say, like, don't ever think that nobody doesn't like you. Because you can obviously work off of, like, evidence of, like, or if they just tell you straight up, like, oh, I don't like you, or they obviously don't like you or care about you, then it's like, okay, well, yeah, they don't like me. But if you're not really sure, like, do they like me? Do they not like me? I don't know. I think it's a good idea to not assume that they don't like you. I think it's okay to be, you know, kind of on the fence about it, and that's normal. But I think what that should do is that should make you want to find out more and to communicate with them and, you know, dig a little bit deeper and see, do they really not like you or not? Because, you know, honestly, I'll just say I think there's a good chance that that's not the case. Well, $50,000. All right, that's it. We'll continue the story another time. Okay, bye.